Okay, everybody here, anybody that comes along, they can catch up. We'll be out in the plaza first. We're going to start, I'm going to walk you around the plaza so you can, to where the sign is, the monument sign, so you can see really how the whole plaza comes together as a unit. You get a much better perspective of it if you stand away from it and look at it. And then we'll go into the community hall and see what that's all about, and I'll explain, how everything works there and all the rest. And then we'll mosey on over to the library and go through there. In the community hall, there's still some guys working. They're putting in a lot of the AV stuff. So kind of watch your step on the floor. There's still kind of junk screws and stuff like that on the floor. In the library, the librarians have a crew in there that are unpacking bazillions of boxes of books. So we'll try to stay out of their way, and I want you to stay together as a group so nobody wanders off, because they got a lot of things going on, and there's also boxes all over the place, so I've got a route sort of that I can take you through. Okay, and as we go along, we'll periodically stop, and I want you to ask any questions you want along the way. Would also, what's that?
As long as they're not now.
No, it can be any question you want. So why don't we just mosey on out there now, and maybe Dave, if you would bring up the rear and close the doors as we go.
Oh
yeah, they had to take them all out and put them back though. They screwed up.
Just between you and me, about before the whole crowd gets here.
Yeah.
Eventually, these trees are going to cause you a wireless havoc in the plaza.
That's all right. I'd rather have the trees myself.
They can sit out. They can sit over on the. So that's what it would have to be. Line of sight, very important.
Yeah. We figure all the tables and chairs are going to be over there, so perfect. That's where most people are going to sit.
Perfect.
You're not going to. There'll be benches throughout here. Let's see, I'm going to get everybody right here, I think. Okay, why don't y'all just kind of come over here, and I'll stand back to one side here, and you can kind of see what's... As you walk by the plaza, as you know, we have it in four quarters. These two are in turf, and this one in decomposed granite. These stripes you see here are the stone stripes. There's two benches that go on each of those, and you might have noticed as you were walking by, there's some pipes that are capped. Those are the holes that the bench supports go into when they come in here. There'll be two benches on each of these, and there'll be a bench of like four benches along the sidewalk over there. And then the fountain, of course, is the centerpiece of the plaza, which occupies this entire quarter over there, and we'll walk by that as we go in. This is you see kind of the back of the little sculpture that's over here that has the two little kids, and there's an otter and a turtle and a bear that they're all dancing in kind of a quarter circle. You can kind of see it as we go by. We're keeping it covered up because we're going to put a formal tarp over it and then unveil it as part of the ceremony. It was done by a sculptor in Seattle, isn't that right? Georgia's from Seattle?
Washington.
Washington, okay. Whidbey Island. Okay. But one thing you will notice here that we have retained the double row of trees that's gone along here. We took some out and were able to put them back and then replace them and added some others in here. So we've retained that look. The only part that's gone is right here in the center, and that's because of the monument sign. We wanted a clear view of the whole plaza that goes in here. And you can go back and take a peek. The letters are on the monument sign. We picked we have three specially quarried pieces of black granite just because it's a real elegant piece of stone, and we wanted to kind of set off that tone right at the outset of the project. And of course, you can see the lights in the concrete. They'll light up the whole thing at night. and there's lights all the way around. One thing to notice that when we're going through here is the light pretty much everywhere. The lights that we've used are almost entirely reflected light. So it's not direct light. These are all reflect off of those panels, those circular discs on top, and reflect down. It's a much softer and more diffuse light than the bright direct lights you would see. In the library as well, most of the lighting is indirect lighting, except in the lower parts of the ceiling and in parts where we've not put a drop ceiling in. We've left the air conditioning ducts and so forth exposed, and they're painted. And that was a deliberate decision because we wanted the rooms to be more utility-like, because that's the kids area and the teen areas are where we've done that. But those have direct lights. The rest of them are all reflected lights of one kind or another. And when you get in the library, you can see through the windows here the big paned opaque glass windows. That's called cowl wall. It's a material that diffuses the light in without having direct sunlight right on you, but there's also a row of windows across the top so you can see the blue sky as well. And in the library, on a day like today, most days, you won't have to turn a light on. The light is so good, and the way it's directed into the building, and on a day like today, you won't have to turn the air conditioning on because we have a row of the interior windows are all operable windows. You can open, go out as you see them. So that's the reason you see so much openness in here and in the plaza. So let's wander over to the community hall, and that'll be our new meeting room. It'll be the place where the council and the commissions all meet and all that, but it's also for a lot of other things. Why don't you guys just, Gary and Kim, just stop there and we'll move everybody up here. I want you to see the fountain. The fountain, as I'm sure you've seen the pictures and all the rest of it, and if you've had occasion to see it up close, there's 30 jets, 30 nozzles that have water that is air injected. It's aerated, so it's very foamy and very sudsy looking. And we had designed it so that it'll vary in height just as kind of a bubbler. You can move it up a foot at a time to up to 6 feet. The system that we have in place, we've actually gotten it up to over 8 feet without any strain on the system at all. So it's really going to be beautiful. We have a couple of programs. In fact, Terry is designing a program to put on the cards that go in the computer. We have a test program which brings them up, and then they go up high, and then they come down low, and they have something like a 30-second interval where those things go. They all move up and down together. They're not individual like some fountains, but they all move. On Tuesday, the grates will go in here, and they are steel grids, 1 foot square grids that have a steel grate goes right over the nozzle, and then all the other squares are 1 foot square opaque glass blocks. So they go in here. That's why we have all the lights down here, and there's a light on each of the nozzles. And it'll reflect the pool through the opaque glass. It's kind of a greenish glass that'll reflect the pool, and then of course the light will shine through the grate and go right up the nozzle, right up alongside the nozzle. And it's pretty spectacular when you see it. When you have all 30 of these up about 6 feet with the lights on, it's really something. So, by the way, people have asked me, is it like the fountain in Cesar Chavez Plaza? And yes, it's very much like that, except of course the design is different. And they have a complete reservoir underneath theirs. We chose to go with just 3 separate reservoirs, which is a lot easier to control. Same guy, by the way, that designed that, George Hargreaves, designed this one, and Pacific Water did the system for us as well. It was interesting. Terry is designing a program, because we have one additional program we can put in, a program that is set to the notes on a musical scale, and everybody's going to have to guess which piece of music it is. It'll go up, 5 heights, just like a scale on thing, and it goes with a piece of music that he's taken out. So they will have a contest or something. But this fountain is truly a spectacular piece, and it was something that we just fought for from the beginning, that we really need to have something like that in here. And then, of course, the lettering you see is it's a special font that we picked for everything. And by the way, we will have lettering on City Hall, same letters, only it'll say, of course, Cupertino City Hall. So it kind of helps tend to unify the place a little bit. The portico, these pieces on the portico are precast concrete and were set in place one at a time, just like an erector set. And then they are the same precast material that you see at the base of the building. Both buildings have the same precast. One thing I wanted to mention while we're out here is that one of the big design demands that we had was that we didn't want this building to look like the little sister of this one. So you can see there's some subtle changes in the design, including the color of the brick and the precast. The roofs are the same material, but the windows that we have, the clear story windows that run all the way around, and the effect we were trying to get on the windows, it really works. You get back a ways, when the lights are on, it appears that the roof is floating above the lights, and that was the effect we were trying to get. So it doesn't look like a carbon copy of the library, but it looks like it's all part of the same design and reflects a lot of the same subtleties that both buildings have. We'll go into the building, but as we do, I'm going to take you through the lobby first, and again, watch your step. There's still stuff collecting around the main lobby, and then we'll enter into the building. Let's stop in the lobby first. Oh yes, it's textured. The concrete is sandblasted, and so is the glass, so that it'll have a skid to it. It won't be slick. Let's stop inside the lobby for a minute and kind of stand around while these guys are finishing up. So, and again, one of the features of this building, the main and single driving feature of this particular building was that we wanted to make it as flexible a use as possible. You could do just about any kind of a gathering of one kind or another in the community or anything else, not just a council chamber, because you know how limited our council chamber is now to what it can be used for. It's very, very limited in its utility. Whereas this building, you can have a council meeting, you can have a wedding banquet, you can have a community congress, you can have a training session, you can have a book sale, you can just about anything you want in this building like you would be able to do in any other meeting room in a convention center, say, except ours is a lot nicer. This is a flat panel TV here that will broadcast the council meetings or whatever is going inside the building. So people come out here, much like the TV we have in the lobby now, you can come out here and take a break and you can still watch, and the speakers in the ceiling are part of the, you can hear the thing, it's all piped out here. When we get inside, they have the two big screens on the wall, and then there are touch screens on each of the places at the count. There's 12 places at the on the dais, and they're touch screens. So if somebody says, well, what about the corner thing here, and they can touch it and it'll put a dot on there, or they can do it like John Madden, you know, and circle it and so forth, and then you can pop it off before it goes. But the council meeting itself won't be broadcast in there, of course. It's too distracting while there's a meeting going on, the same meeting's going on. But, for example, if you wanted to have a corporate get-together and have a crowd, you can put a camera on whoever's speaking and put them up on the screens if you want to. And then the screens will broadcast whatever it is you want to show the people. You know, like we do with PowerPoint now, it's got computers and document cameras and so forth hooked up to it. I could show you that. They just put the letters on here and the letters up here. That's where the pictures of the city council will be over here, and then the dedication plate will go over on that wall. So let's go on inside. I want you to notice something though. When we're out here, and before we go in, all right, listen. You can hear there's some reverberation of it. It's quiet, but it has a reverberation. Come in the other room and we'll do it again. Oh, good. The lights got here, huh? Great. Let's all line up right here. Okay. Glenn, would you close the door when you come through? Okay, now do you get in here? No. I don't think the other one does. And then here, you see the difference? It picks up those panels, those wood panels behind you, those are acoustic panels. All the ones that are gridded like that are special acoustic panels. But we, rather than put up acoustic panels like the ones you see, the gray panels up there, which you do in a lot of rooms. You'll put those up to do it. We wanted the room to look much more elegant than having it broken up by these panels. So we came up with this design of these acoustic panels so the room would still look really elegant but still have a great sound quality. And you can see up here they're putting the projectors and cameras into these two little cubby holes back here so they won't be exposed and hanging off the walls like they are now. And then there's two little cubicles back there behind the dais on the side walls where two more cameras are, and then there's a fifth camera that goes at the back. I think they might even have it up already, but it's in the back. And then up here above you, you see these bars that are on the columns up here. They're like handlebars sort of things, or grip bars. Well, that's where these lights go. These lights, there's 4 on each one. And the reason is that the lights above in the grid that you see there, much like we have now in the council chamber, will take care of everything that's on in the back of the stage and in front of it. But in the front of the stage, we needed lights that would take care of that for TV as well. In addition, this is what I told you about this being a multi-purpose room. All the chairs, of course, are not fixed. They're chairs you can move around just like we have at the Quinlan Center. And in the back, that dais is on motorized rollers. The whole thing, you just flip a switch and it rolls all the way back to the back. And you see this plastic bag hanging down from the ceiling. That's a theatrical drape, which pulls around, goes all the way across the front and pulls around back. And when that happens, when you do those two things, you won't even know it's a council chamber. It'll be a meeting room. And there's still about 9 feet of stage left sticking out that you can put a head table on if you had a banquet. You could have speakers on it if you were going to do a forum of some kind. You could do just about anything you wanted, and it would have the same function as a room like we have in the Quinlan Center and elsewhere. But this one is more upscale because we want to rent it out to private groups for a wedding banquet, for example, or anything like that.
Was there a kitchen?
The kitchen, yes, the kitchen's in the corner. Back here we see the door open. It's a catering kitchen, much like just a kind of a simple kitchen like we have downstairs. We didn't make it a cooking kitchen because we didn't want to go through all the public health stuff, and we wouldn't be using it that much like they do at the senior center. And we didn't want to spend the money because really we wouldn't have used it very much. But this allows a catering. That's also the storeroom for chairs and tables and things. And the nice thing is that the kitchen is fairly small, and the storeroom is about the same size, but there's not a wall between the two. So when they want to use the kitchen, of course, the tables and chairs will all be out here. So we have movable tables in there, stainless steel prep tables and that kind of thing that they can move around and use as a prep kitchen. We've already had the caterer for the opening event in here, and they loved it. They thought it was just great, and it really works well. They can back a catering truck right up to the curb, put everything in through the side door, and then cater out of that room.
Ralph, did you say what those white panels were?
Those are the TV screens. Yeah, you can see over here, the wire hanging down is from the projector. There's 2 projectors, 2 high-definition projectors, and 2 cameras up there as well. And they will project everything on these 2 screens. Whatever is going on that people want to show, just like a PowerPoint presentation or anything else. Now, these 2 pieces of furniture here together make up the single podium. You put these together, and somebody who's speaking, addressing the council from this thing, let's say he has a rendering of a project or something you want to show, you can put this piece of paper flat on here, and that document camera up there will pick it up and broadcast it on the screens and on the panels in front of you and on TV and everywhere else. There'll be another document camera, which is more like an overhead camera, at the presenter's corner over here on the dais, where you can put a piece of paper like you would an overhead, just a drawing of some kind, and this document camera will pick it up and broadcast it on the screens as well. And the screens are set in such a way that you pretty much see either one of them or both of them from anywhere in the room. So you're going to have a good view of at least one of the screens wherever you sit. And then over in this corner in the back room, there's a small, kind of like a green room, break room. It's going to be we originally thought it would be a conference room, but instead we're going to use it as a more of a break room. If the council wanted to have a closed session, we'd just walk them back over to conference room A and do it there. But back here, you can go take a break if one of the council members want to go. There's another smaller flat screen TV on the wall. You can watch the council meeting back there if you want to. We've also got it hooked up to cable in case some of us back there don't particularly care to watch the council meeting, want to watch a ball game or something. So it's pretty well set. I can't take you in the kitchen because we've got all the chairs and stuff in there. Notice also that when the door is closed, you don't know it's a door. And so they're called concealed doors. And so this one does the same thing. It's got a pull on it so you can bring it out and leave it open if you're catering. But when you're not, if you're just having a meeting, why it just cleans up the room a lot. Now what I'm going to do here, these guys are all working on the dais, so I'm going to ask you to just walk up on the front of the dais and look over. I don't want to take behind there because they're working. So just step up on the dais in the center here, and you can take a look at how it works, and I'll go around behind. I'll show you when I get up here. It's easier to see when you're up here. Now you can see yours is over here, Grace.
Where's that big thing that goes out? There's like a big.
It's right. It's leaning up against the wall over there. Yeah, just these are well, they're actually LCD screens. Okay. They'll broadcast television or graphics or whatever. Yeah, you can put the ball game on it if you want. But they're basically like computer screens. They're much more high definition than a regular small TV screen.
So Ralph, this can be dismantled?
Or no, it's on rollers.
Oh, so you can move it.
What you do is there's a switch back here, and you throw the switch, and there's rollers. You see these slots down here, down the back. It's underneath the floor. There's these steel rollers that it sits on, and there's a chain drive and a motor that just pulls the thing. You can pull it all the way back to here, and then you take the drape there and pull it all the way around. The color of the drape is coordinated with the color of the furniture, so that's complementary to the cushions and the fabric and the furnishings. 2 cameras you see on the side, another camera up there, and then as you look back, you'll see where the other cameras go, the back of the room. All the lights that you would have, in fact, I think they're taking the lights down today or tomorrow over in the council chamber. We're going to bring them over here and put them up here, and then the lights that these guys are putting up along the backside. The conference room is back here, along with all the electrical stuff. There's a complete room full of electrical stuff. And then another set where those doors are through there are all the TV racks. There's 3 racks full of TV stuff for all of and sound stuff for all the stuff that goes on here. This space here, this open space, you can see they've got the window mullion in there. It's going to be glass just like the glass that's up above in the clerestory window up there. And we wanted to have that to still allow some light, so it didn't seem this could be a very dark space, even with all lights on. And then this stays open, and behind this is a ramp for disabled people to get up to the stage. You come around the side, you come up a ramp in the back, and come out here to get up here. We will have smaller temporary, oh, here comes the glass now as we were speaking. We will have 2 little temporary steps down on either side, like you would find in a convention hall or something like that. But we couldn't make that the permanent access to the stage because we had to have a ramp. But we can use that for people, largely people coming up and down, they'll come up that way. So otherwise everything is, when it moves out of the way, and the chairs, we have new chairs for the whole dais. They're little high back black leather chairs, very nice, that go around for everybody up here, and then the chairs and tables for the rest of it. Any questions as we're going along? I'm just babbling away here to see if anybody has any questions. Or
whenever there's a planning commission meeting,
same.
Public Works has already service or whatever.
Oh, it'll all be set up. Yeah, it'll be set up. Probably most of the time it'll be set up for a theater style seating out there. We can seat. We have 220 chairs, and interestingly enough, the chairs, if any of you have been in my office, that's the chair that's sitting there by the door. But there's 110 chairs that are a tone of this color, and then there's 55 each of another shade that's different. So the chairs aren't all the same. They'll have a little more of an interesting look, and you can space them around randomly, or you can put one together and say these are the cool people over here, or these are the A tickets here, or whatever. But it will give the room a little more colorful look because it's very monotone with all the wood and stuff. Let's see, what else? The other nice thing about this dais is, City's question made me think of another thing. Say you had a joint meeting of the Planning Commission, the Council, you want to have that, you got room for all of them up here. So, because there's 12 spots, and then the staff just goes and sits somewhere else. The way it's set up is the 5 council members are here where you see where the voting lights are down front, and there'll be a thing that goes on here with their names that goes on it. And then the staff will be seated over here. Dave and the city attorney and department head or presenter will be there. There's 4 places there. And then same over here, although the clerk, because she has so much stuff to do, has 2 places. We put the screen in here at the other place because that sideboard, which goes up here, is a additional surface to put all the stuff that the clerk has to have up here to do this, a different work service. But if you had a planning commission meeting, you could sit somebody here because there's a screen here too. And then this will be Rick's position or whoever's functioning as the PIO that night. And then another department head or staff position can be over here. And we don't have nameplates. Dave thought it was better we remain anonymous. So we're going to try it. We like it better. The council will have nameplates. And back here on this back wall, where you see the wood trim, just above the break between the gray acoustic panels and the wood, it will say City of Cupertino in those same stainless steel letters that you saw in the lobby. Very similar to that right up across the top.
Do you know when your first meeting will be in here?
Yes, week from Monday. First one, and that'll be the meeting that they're going to decide what they're going to do with the 4Cs election, or the 3Cs election, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So Dave has suggested that with the elegant setting that we now have these meetings, maybe everybody will behave a little better. I don't have a lot of hope for that myself, but that's probably the best way to look at it. Any more questions about there? There's a lot of work going on in the back, so I don't want to take you around the back. But
So we're going to need to get briefed more and more.
yes, yeah, we've set up meetings next week for the planning commissioners and for the council. We're bringing them in groups of 2, so there won't be a quorum, and we're going to orient them on this. We'll do the same with the staff. We just need to show them which buttons to push, and maybe this will make them vote better if they have better voting system, but probably don't count on it. And then we have the senior staff will be coming in here, I think on Tuesday, and we'll all be going through the same routine. And we'll have the same thing for people who work the commission meetings.
Ralph, do you want something on the November 1st agenda under ceremonial items so you can present the building?
That might be a good idea. Yeah, let's talk to Dave about what that might be. I'm sure Sandy would love to have that. Sure, that's a very good idea. Okay, make that like the first ceremonial or something. Okay. Okay, any other questions about our community hall? I would like to take you out through the side here. Let me see if there's anybody in here. Hey guys, why don't we do this? Why don't we walk out and you can walk through the kitchen and storeroom. You can see the chairs that are stored here, the ones that will be in the building. And then we'll go out on the sidewalk and go through the patio back to the library. The same chairs we have in the library, only the ones in the library don't have arms or padding. They're the ones we're using at the library study tables and whatnot. Thank you. Thank you.
I had a question.
Turned out nice. Yeah.
On the screens, the TV screens
Yes.
with regards to, do they project the same during daylight and the same as they do during night?
They're very high definition, very intense color. Yeah, they will.
So
If for some reason, we have shades on all the windows.
Okay.
So if there was something we were doing that required us to shade it, we could drop the shades down and use them and it wouldn't be any different. Before we go in, did you all notice the quote on the side of the building back here? There's another one that's out in the courtyard as well. There's two quotes that we put up. And the librarians have been very gracious in giving me credit for the quotes, because I asked them to come up with a bunch of quotes, and they came up with a dozen or so and asked me to pick 2, and those were the 2 that I liked the best. And everybody seems to like them, so I didn't make them up or look for them. Down here you see these open doors down here. That's the coffee shop that'll be run by Coffee Society. And yay! Be open all day and in the evenings. It'll be great. The Coffee Society will be there, and they will open the same day that the building opens. We're finishing off the room now. He's buying all the chairs, and they've got I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it from here. There's another little monument sign that's out in front, and it'll say Coffee Society at the Cupertino Library. And then he's going to put his Coffee Society logo on the doors. So it'll be a really nice spot, a great spot for all of us who work in City Hall to come over here. They'll have, I think, 4 or 5 tables and chair sets, patio tip, kind of the European, the little tables, and chairs that'll be out here on the front patio so that people can come sit out here. Once we get the Wi-Fi connected up on the community hall, you'll be able to sit out there and you can plug in and get our website and move on from there once all that's connected. Okay, I'm going to take us all into the lobby of the library. Now let's turn the corner and come on in. Let's all just kind of gather right here. This of course is the main lobby and the main checkout desk. You can see there's book drops back here as well. Once you pass through that set of security sensors, you're in the secure area of the library. There's only one way in and out except in a fire, and that's for security of all of the materials in the collections. We have adult books. We have adult videos too, as a matter of fact. In fact, they were putting up paper signs to show where, you know, all the boxes of stuff went, because we didn't have the signage in yet. And they had a big sheet of paper that said adult videos on it. I thought maybe you ought to change that and call it something else. Got everybody kind of excited though when they saw that over there. Coffee shop and adult videos, you can't beat it. What a library. Book drops here. There's 6 book drops on the outside wall, and there's 2 or 3 parking spaces that are, you know, like 2-minute zones where you can just pull up, get out, and drop your books and pull out if you're not coming in the library. The back room here is all of the book holding areas, and it's really a mess because they're dumping all the extra boxes out there, because that's also the loading door. So I won't take you in there, but these are the requests. You call in and ask for a book to be held. They mark them here, and then you have your card, and with that code you can come in and pull that book off with your name on it. And there's a bunch of 5 self-check machines. You can go in here and use that self-check machine, check the book out, and go on out. You don't even have to go in the library. You can just come pick up your whole book, check it out, and be on your way. There are self-check machines throughout the building, so you can do that in several places. Take a look out at the patio, the courtyard. We'll go out there in a minute, but you see out there, and there's the other little statue is out there of the little sculpture, the little boy that's sitting cross-legged with a rabbit looking over his shoulder. We'll walk by that when we go out. And the courtyard is pretty much finished. The furniture's out there. The staircase is all stone. One of the things that when we did the upgrades some time back, when we got such good bids, and the council took a balance in the budget, which we had free to do that, we put some upgrades in here, and a lot of the stone that you see and the countertops and the other things are part of that. This room back here is it's kind of the browsing area. It's got a lot of the media and the periodicals, current periodicals, stuff that rotates and changes, like weekly magazines and whatnot. And we put the glass above the bookcase. The bookcase, incidentally, is for the Friends book sale. All the books that the Friends sell will be in this bookcase. And the 2 book drops right behind Robert there are for people who want to donate to the Friends. They can just throw them in there, and then they'll pick them up. They got a couple of book bins behind it. As I said, one thing you will notice about the library, even in the lower floors, it's really open. There's a lot of glass. There's a lot of openness and spaciousness to the building. And you see again the reflected lights. All the lights are reflecting off of the white ceiling. They're not direct lighting down, except when you're getting in the lower areas or in the hallway. So let's go over here now and we'll show you our new aquarium. Okay, why don't you just all gather around the aquarium. Now, one thing I want to start off telling you is the building was under construction before anybody thought of an aquarium. We were actually putting up the foundations and all the rest of it. So we had to basically block out this whole square of the building and redesign this part of the building completely to take the aquarium. The aquarium, it's a 4,000-gallon marine, that is saltwater aquarium, and we're introducing different groups of fish. We just put the little clownfish, like black and white jobs, in here recently, and then there's some more little fish that we've put in. They're all doing very well. They've just been fed, as you can see. And the coral and the aquarium itself were constructed as one unit and shipped up here by truck. They were built in Southern California. So the coral was built inside the aquarium. The whole aquarium was built as one unit. And you can see the coral, it's artificial coral. It's not real coral. And so, but it looks like the real deal. And it's just amazing. The other thing we had to do, the aquarium it's not just the aquarium. There's about as much square foot of equipment that runs the aquarium as well. So we had to block out this whole area. You see where Robert is standing behind that wall is all the filtering systems and the pumps and all the other things. And we had to build a catwalk behind the aquarium because it's so big, so somebody can get up there and they actually get down in the aquarium to clean it. So you have to have the accessibility. This is, Terry and I ended up hiring 2 guys from the Monterey Bay Aquarium, the Tenji group, to come over here and help us with the design as well. This, as you know, was a donation of Fred and Annie Chan, longtime Cupertino residents, and he's a high-tech entrepreneur, but he has a keen interest in marine aquariums, always has. So that was his idea, and it's a memorial actually to his father who passed away a few months ago. So, and this room here was just going to be a storeroom, only we had to take it over to put another mixing tank in there, and the mixing tank feeds into the aquarium system underneath the floor through pipes. The aquarium itself sits on a foundation that's 6 feet deep. It's concrete and reinforced steel, and if an atom bomb goes off in the center of the plaza, that foundation will still be here, I'm pretty sure.
Fish will still be here.
And the fish will be fine. And then the other design nuance, we had to completely redesign this part of the library. And so we took this wall and put this what's called artisan plaster up here because it's a much more elegant looking thing than just plain old wallboard and plaster. And we redesigned the lights. You see the normal lighting system. We put all these little tiny lights up here, which would then, the idea was you want to keep the light down so the aquarium is the centerpiece, so it shows up. And when it eventually gets up in operation, it'll be much brighter than you see here. There's lights that go in above it. We're just using a couple of incandescent lights now just to work on it. But those lights will be in.
For the cleaning and
Yes, one of the part of that we insisted on with Jan's donation was that he fund the maintenance fully for 5 years and half the maintenance for another 5 years. So it's covered, and you hire a guy there called Aquarius, and the guy Bart Fanoli, who is with the Dolphin Group in Los Gatos, is the guy we hired. Fred Chan has used him for a lot of his aquariums that he has in his offices, and Bart was the project manager for putting the aquarium. He's a great guy, and he's really, this is the biggest project he's ever done, and he just loves it. So he'll be our contract tender of the maintenance of the aquarium. This material that you see around it, that was another design nuance we wanted, because the aquarium, we just didn't want it sitting in a wall. And this material, it's just called light block, is a material that is a plexiglass type material, and the blue color is painted on the back, so it gives it a little more depth. And we wanted it to kind of look like it was kind of sitting in the ocean or something, so it was a dark blue wall that we selected to put up here with this material.
Will there be a plaque?
The plaque, yes, there's a plaque that it'll reference the donation by the Chans and in memory of his father, whose name was Park Chung Chan, and it'll go right on that side wall there. Probably next week sometime. So anyway, any questions about any of this?
So I'm not supposed to come feed them?
You don't have to come feed them, Carmen, no. They eat
thought that
special,
was part of my
these are
handout.
real high-class fish. They don't
thought it
eat
was
leftovers, you know.
Other duties.
They eat high-class food.
This is a high-tech fish.
That's right.
Oh, they're not going to eat my...
So anyway, this was probably one of the biggest construction challenges that we had, and happily it's turned out great. One other thing I wanted to mention, how thick is the glass? It's about 2.5 inches thick. On the floor down here, eventually, I don't think we'll have it down to the opening, we've got a slanted little sign board made out of stainless steel that will have all the pictures of the fish and who they are and all that stuff all along here. The other thing is that if Apple ever gets off his butt and gets this done, we're going to put a table, one of these reading tables here, and Apple's going to donate 2 computers and software that will be all about marine aquariums. So the kids can come in here and sit down and just, to their heart's delight, they'll be standalone computers, but they'll have this software inventory in them, and they can just look up anything they want to. But while we're standing here, let me introduce Bart Fanoli. Bart, with the Dolphin Group, is the guy who's going to take care of our aquarium and who I described to you earlier was doing it. And it's looking good. It's looking good.
Lots of animals in there
Yeah.
now, and hopefully by the grand opening, we'll have even a few. The chemistry's still a little bit shaky, so we have to be really careful. It works just like the little aquariums you have at home. You know, you can't put too many fish in too soon. So we do have 3 beautiful angelfish in there. So, and those guys will be our sort of iconic fish. There's one right in front of you right there, an annularis. And he's from the Indian Ocean. Real interesting fish. But we'll have lots of little creepy crawlies in there for the kids. It'll be really interesting. So they'll be able to see a lot of little invertebrates, some shrimps and things like that. And then we'll get we don't have complete electricity in there yet, so we don't have a real good lighting. So that's why the tank looks
Dark,
a little bit yellow. But the
Okay.
electricians are working hard getting that done right now.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you, Bart.
Great, thank
Thanks
you.
very much. Good to see you as always.
Good seeing you.
Good, great. This, of course, as you probably have already guessed, is the children's area. Children's programs in the Cupertino Library have always been a very big and popular part of the library and was totally inadequate in the other building. So we put this on the ground floor so it could, for 2 reasons. We could have this whole room set aside, and you see that conference room back there where Terry is. That's a quiet study area where kids can go in there and you can do things quietly. There's a second quiet study area back behind those double doors at the end of the library, and then this crossover to the other wing is another children's reading area, and these benches that you see right here that Maria's leaning against, those benches they're like little love seats, and the idea is that people can sit in them with children and read. So you could have a kid on either side of you and read, otherwise the chairs wouldn't allow you to do that so much. There'll be tables all along this wall, these little tables you see over here with chairs on them, and the tables have plugs in them, so you can plug a computer in if you want to. And then they have a data connection that's down below in a little thing like we have in City Hall. And you notice we did a little bit more in the way of color and kind of whimsy in here so that it looked a little more inviting for kids. And it's more, the other reason to have it in the lower floors is because we have the regular ceilings, so it is more kid scale than the bigger high ceilings are in the other room. And it's accessible to the patio, so you can take the kids out there on a nice day and do story time or whatever else you want to do, and just take them out there and they can just sit on the concrete and you can do whatever you want. What I'm going to do now is take you out this door to the patio so you can see the sculpture and be in the courtyard. And you can see as you come by here the children's reading area. One of the things to notice as you go up here, you see the lights, the little tiny pinprick type lights that are up there. And the ceiling, which is all the ductwork, is all painted a very dark navy blue. These little pieces of stretch cloth, which are called Eurospan, are material that we put up there so that the lights and the Eurospan would look like clouds and stars, so that it has more of a whimsy look to it in the room than would just have in a plain room. This is the same material, by the way, that is in the ceiling of the community hall. It looks like wood, but it's not. It's this material. It's very interesting to watch them put it up. They heat it up and then stretch it over a frame, and then it shrinks when it cools down to just almost a hard surface. And it's an acoustic material. That's why we put it in the roof and why we had it. It deadens the sound. So that's what this room, and this end of the building is really nice because when the fence is down, you'll see the soccer field, you'll see the Redwood Memorial Grove and everything out there. And eventually we didn't get it done in time for the opening, but we're going to put a couple of pathways in the Redwood Grove and bring some of the benches that we used to have out in front of City Hall that had people's names on them out here. So it'll be a nice quiet area and some tables so people can have lunch out here if you want to. Be a very nice quiet area. But this end of the building has a lot of glass from the rooms above that look out on the courtyard, because that's such a nice, or the Redwood Grove rather, such a nice feature. And then you hear is the other little sculpture. And you can see what a really nice, not many libraries have outdoor spaces because they don't want people walking off with the stuff. So we decided that if we wanted a courtyard, and everybody thought that was a good idea, but it's completely enclosed, so you're still a secure area. In other words, if you want to go in the browsing area and pick up a magazine and come out here and read it, you don't have to check it out. You can just come out here and sit down and read it and put it back, or check it out or whatever. So it makes for a very nice reading area and a relaxing area as well. And it's a lovely space. And you can kind of see the whole library. Again, notice how much glass we've got in here. So you can see, this is this back corner here is the staff offices. All of this here is the library department offices. And then the teen area is up above, and then all the main stacks are in the upper floors. Any more questions while we're out here? One thing that seems kind of odd when you're out here, which you don't expect to see when you're outside, is all the panic hardware is on the outside of the door. Normally it's inside, but this is the place you got to get away from. So you're opening into the other building because those are where the fire exits are. But it looks odd in an outdoor space to see the panic bars and stuff and the doors out here.
Is it 3-story?
No, it's certainly, it's about 4 stories high, but it's only 2 levels.
That's just like for visual.
It's big, high ceiling. You'll see when we get upstairs, what a nice effect. It's huge. The space inside makes it seem very spacious. We're going to go back through these doors and then go up the stairs to the second level. Okay. This is the reference desk you see here, and all of the adult collections. Fiction is over here. The reference books are all over here. You have a bunch of media and reference, and there's a special section about Western history and culture. I forget what it's called, but it's all about the Trek West and how it was developed. It was a special collection that was given to the library years ago. And that's back here. You'll see another quiet study room down at the end, the 2 doors down there. And then all the stacks are over here. What I'd like to have you do is, and we're trying to stay out of everybody's way as much as we can, I'd like to have you come in here and just take a look at the room where these collections are, and look for the fact that number one, there are no columns anywhere in these big wings. Columns are all at the side. And the ceiling has no utilities in it except for the fire sprinklers. It's just the structure and the acoustical panels that make up the underside of the ceiling. The other thing to look for is on the stacks over there. You see those rectangular boxes that are on top of the stack. Those are actually lights, and they reflect up and off of the white ceiling and down, so you don't have direct light in your face. And again, these are reflected light in here, these ceiling fixtures, and all of these as well.
Does the fundraising pay for the furnishing?
The fundraising has paid for about half of it so far. The total bill for the furnishings for the library is about 1.2 million, and the fundraising has raised, I think, about 650,000 so far, and they're still raising money. Okay, why don't you come on out here, and you can just kind of stay in this area if you would. Use at the reference tables and for where the computers are. There's about 95 computers that the library is putting into the building for public use throughout. Some of them are index computers, some of them are internet computers, and so on. And you can see they're starting to unload all the computers back here now. As I said, this is the fiction section over here. This is reference. All of that back there is nonfiction reference. And again, notice that the ceilings, the only thing up there is the fire sprinklers. What I'd like to have you do is just walk down the aisle of the stacks here, and then kind of walk along the wall, and we'll come back out this way so you can see the views of the courtyard, or of the plaza rather. And these will all be reading areas. See the furniture that's stacked up here? Yeah. We've got some casual seating areas at the ends and in the middle, and in the these, you see these are the same chairs here, except they don't have arms and they don't have the fabric on them. And all the tables that you'll see there, this is be a real nice place, very popular place, I'm sure, and the library people will sit and enjoy the view. And look out the windows too, both ends. The view of the mountains and it's a good day for this because it's all clear after the rain. One thing we are going to have to do, which we didn't realize would happen, the city was asking me about the safety of the glass. It's all tempered safety glass. But what happens here, because of the joint material, see, it does this. So we're going to just put another mullion up here, which will stiffen it up, and it'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah. Watch this. But as you can see here, all of the views you get out of the room here are really, really nice. This is my favorite room in the building. And again, you see all the lighting is up lighting of one kind or another.
And I love the ceiling. I think
Yeah.
it's so cool to see all that.
Yeah, see all that. And you can, and the nice thing is the windows give you the blue sky and the clouds, but these Qualls windows bring in a lot of light in. Yeah, they do. I mean, they're, you know, it's basically, I mean, the lights aren't on in here now, so in this room, so you can see how nice it is. You can walk down the stacks and read everything, whatnot. And you can see how nice it is to have the plaza here, so you can sit up here and enjoy that, and with the fountains running and everything. It's going to be a great spot to be.
I take a nap.
You could. We know where to look for Poe, I think.
Robert will be here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you to walk back out here. This gentleman here is demonstrating the seating area that you'll see. What I think we'll do here is, this is the other wing, which is very similar to the wing we were just in. And why don't you just do this? We'll just take a walk down the stacks, walk down the far wall, and then come back the other way. I'll lead you back over here, so you can just see how the stacks work and what a nice room it is. And as you see, the windows here also create a very nice place where all the tables will be, and people can sit down here. There's a couple of them over here. So keep your crap.
Not sure.
If you notice on the end panels of the library, the wood on the end panels and the wood in the furniture, the built-in stuff, the millwork, look almost identical, which is interesting because the furniture millwork was done in Southern California, and these were done in Ohio, at totally different places, totally different suppliers. But we made sure that all this stuff, when it all came together, matched. That's just some of the little wonky details you got to worry about when you're putting together a facility like this. And the steel is painted the same color as the window mullions, which were manufactured elsewhere. But we wanted all the metalwork to match, so we got the custom color that went with these and painted all the metalwork. There was one guy that painted the steel, and with a spray gun, and he just did a superb job. I mean, it's really a nice job. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to come back down here, and then we'll turn the corner and go back out to the main aisle. As you're walking by this glassed area, this is another quiet study area. Has both tables and a counter over there, and you'll see there's a data panel underneath, and there's electrical hookups on each of the tables here, so you don't have a lot of cords dangling around. One of the interesting features of library where different people come and use the facility so one person doesn't hog the whole table is they got these subtle little rubber dividers down here, which means keep your crap on your side of the divider.
Territory, man. That's the territory.
Yeah, it's the same material. We came up with that. It was a suggestion by the librarians, and we came up with this material, the bushing material around the side. It's the same stuff. We just applied a strip on there, and on the larger tables, it's a quarter. So you each get a quarter of the table. And don't let your stuff go over that other side. And then, as you can see, they're starting to put all the hookups in here, and this will be a nice place too. Look at the, I mean, even with the screens down, you can still see the trees and the mountains. I mean, it's just a terrific.
Are those motorized screens?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. As you come back around here, I want to show you one other thing that's kind of interesting. Again, these are things you think of as you're putting the building together, and you just have to constantly think, you know, what's it going to look like? What's it going to look like? And we realized that when we designed this crossover underneath, that all these windows were going to be looking out on a built-up roof. So instead, we had them put river rock all the way across the roof here, which still drains very nicely. You can see the scupper drain and the drain in the middle of it, but it's a lot nicer to look at. So it looks more natural. Otherwise, you'd just be looking at a bunch of tar paper and a bunch of other junk on the roof. So, and we put the raised drain out there just to keep the rocks from going in. But you can see it really doesn't hurt the view much because of the stones that are out there. And then again, you see, notice as we're going by here, all these windows, you can open them. And all the tables, we've just basically, all the perimeter of the library, the whole perimeter of the library has glass in it and has the reading areas and the tables, so that on both sides of this room, there's these tables alongside the windows. So we've used up all that. We designed it specifically to have that perimeter effect where we could put all the tables and chairs and people have reading spaces. Okay, I'm going to take you back downstairs. We're going to turn around the corner, go down the stairs, and collect back in the main lobby downstairs. Okay. By the way, as you come down the staircase, you see we've used a lot of glass dividers too, which of course keeps the space open, but also keeps the noise from the stone stairway down in the main room. When we designed the library, when we first started design, we gave the architects 3 qualifiers. We said we want it classy, we want it elegant, but we want it understated, so that it wasn't some big, a lot of wild colors and stuff and a lot of odd materials. We wanted this thing very classy, very normal kinds of lines in it, the furniture very elegant but simple. And I think we've achieved that goal, because that's always how people seem to react to it. One of the things that we did, that just as a matter of architectural interest, is it's a square building, but we took this one inside wall and put it on an angle. You can see, you look down here, this one wing, it doesn't seem like it so much except when you're in it, but this one wing is on an angle so that it makes the room a little more interesting. It's kind of on a skew, and the courtyard isn't simply just a box. It opens up, and we use the lower part of the stair as a bench around the stair. It's an inset, so that your stairwell isn't just sticking out in the courtyard. It's a lot of glass, and it has that little bench area plus the quote that's lifted on the side. Okay, any other questions while we're here?
Awesome, man. Good job.
Okay, well, we're going to get a lot of use out of it, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell everybody about Saturday.
Saturday? Oh, yeah. Oh, one thing, remember Saturday, the 30th, the dedication ceremonies will be in the morning. We want everybody to be there. We'll be, of course, videotaping all of that. Ceremony is at 10 o'clock. We're going to dedicate the Civic Center as a whole and the community hall. And then at noon, we're going to dedicate the library. And when we dedicate this, we'll have a color guard raise the flags for the first time and turn on the fountains. We'll have kind of a mock ceremony. You know how you turn on the Christmas tree? Well, we'll give the mayor something to push and do that, and then Terry will be down the pump house, turn the crank, to get them up. But we'll do that. And then we'll unveil the sculpture when we open the library. There is a big fundraising event the night before that many of us are going to. It's a black tie affair, the proceeds of which will go to the library campaign. And it's really a city function, but we're going to use that as a way to kind of crack open the building in a big smash, and then we'll donate the balance of what we get to the fund. So that's our new Cupertino Library and Civic Center. And I want you all to come on Saturday the 30th. Free food, bring your kids, bring your whole family. Bring your significant others. You'll be able to feed them for free all day, so bring them all. There'll be 8 restaurants are putting up food booths. They'll be on Torrey Avenue. We'll keep Torrey closed until the building opens on the following Monday. And there'll be food booths out there. We'll have, much like the Cali Mill deal, if anybody for that, we have face painting for the kids and balloons and all sorts of fun things. We'll have Mark Russo's band, who was at Cali Mill with us, will be playing for the first part. And Curtis Funderbrook has a band called I Know a Band that will be playing pop and jazz music in the afternoon. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a really fun party. We're expecting, probably several thousand people through the day are going to come in here and want to see the new library and all the rest. So invited all that you invited that, and I hope all of you will come. It'll be a real good party.
What time is Curtis's band going to be playing?
At 1 o'clock.
1 to 3.
Mark plays 10 to 1, and Curtis plays 1 to 3.
Take care on the Google, man.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.